Hello. Thanks for joining us at the Universal Heritage Television, Niger. Today, again, we are bringing you another edition of our Daybreak Niger program. In this edition, we are going to discuss what is now trending as the Omoma magic. Omoma magic refers to the various allegations raised by a PDP candidate, Barrister Ugochinya, over APC attempt to rig the 2023 election. To discuss this issue, we have two guests. On my right is Mr. Modestus Wampa. Modestus Wampa is the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor, Imo State Governor, on print media. Mode, you are welcome to the program. Thank you very much for having me. And on my left is Barrister Mike Oti, who is a regular to this program. Barrister Oti is an Imo-based attorney. Mike, you are welcome.
Thank you, and God bless you for having me on this show.
My name is Afam Eti, your host. Thanks for joining us once more. What looked like a bomb was thrown last week by a PDP candidate, Barrister Ugochinya, who is running for the Federal House of Representatives for Idato South, Idato North constituency. He accused APC of already registering fake names, and he claimed to have gotten it on a good authority, brandishing documentary evidences showing that the names registered bore foreign names. Some people coming from Brazil, some names from Japan, Asian countries, and the rest of the world. This has raised a serious concern in the public space. Subsequently, the government has reacted, denying all of those accusations. Now, Mode, I come to you. INEC admitted that 3,000 of such fake names have been removed, deleted in their cleanup exercises. But the government went ahead to contest, to deny that the issues raised by Ugochinya were all false. Are we saying, or is the Imo State government saying, that INEC was lying? What is the position?
Thank you for that question. And first, I want to correct an impression. I want to correct the phrase you use, Omoma magic. I don't know where you got that coinage. However, what you said is not correct. There's no Omoma magic. Having said that, let me also say that the personality involved, Ugochinya, who made those false allegations, I want to tell you that Ugochinya is a man we know, all of us know very well. He does not have that believable status in the society. We know that he's good at turning out falsehood here and there. So what he just did recently is not anything new. Now, having said that also, let me say that the issue here is not about Omoma, actually. It's about INEC. It was INEC, the document which he claimed he had was an INEC document. There was nothing untoward about what happened in Omoma. But what INEC said, thank God INEC issued a release. And that release INEC issued put a lie, in the face of what Ugochinya said. INEC made us understand that at the time they closed registration on August 31st or 30th, that no new registrant has been added to INEC document. They said it. And again, they said that by law, in line with the law, that they are cleaning up their paper, their book, that they already had deleted 1,226,458 or 459 new registrants, and that the exercise will continue. It's a continuous process. Now, across the country, across all the booths in the whole country. So now, when Ugochinya said what he said, INEC was picked to tell the world that there was no new registrants added in Omoma results.
Let me remind you. We had INEC Director of Communication, Festus Okoye, who admitted that 3,000 had been deleted from Oru East. Ugochinya focused on Omoma because that is the home state of the governor. And the registered voters moved from what is possibly 6,000 votes to 46,000. And your government tried to justify it. They gave number. Let me remind you again. INEC chairman Mahmood Yakub also admitted that the INEC portals have been is being hit from here and there, both within and outside the country. So how come?
Now we are saying the same thing. We are saying the same thing. What are we saying here? INEC conducted an exercise. Perhaps they discovered some discrepancies here and there. Not only in East, not only in Imo, not only in. Meanwhile, remember that INEC released 10 states where they discovered who discrepancies, and Imo is not part of those states. Go and check it. Incidentally, the states, the 10 of them are PDP control states by INEC own account. Now, what I'm saying, the 3,000 people you say INEC say they deleted.
Yes.
It is exactly what I'm telling you. That they said they've deleted 1 million something. So even if assuming with that actually the number they deleted, they are clean up this exercise. By the time they clean and find out that their records are clean, they will not add the balance to their original. That's only when you will not know actually the number that is registered is Omoma or anywhere, because what they've done is still untidy. Okay, so they clean it up. That's what I'm telling you. Okay. So 1 point something million, even if he minus 3,000 by 1 point something million. Yeah. So the balance, where did you get?
Anyway, these issues are still playing out. Okay. We'll get back to it on it. But Stoti,
yes.
Was it right for the government to have called for the arrest of Ugochinyere? People believe that Ugochinyere is playing the role or played the role of a whistleblower, even though he wasn't hiding his identity. Even without investigation, the government called for his arrest.
To answer your question very briefly, the call for arrest of Ugochinyere was very, very unnecessary. Unnecessary in the sense that we have a duty. Every citizen of Nigeria owes a duty of assisting INEC or any other institution for that matter to ensure that we get our democracy right. So if the alarm that was raised by Ugochinyere will in any way aid INEC to do a good job in the upcoming 2023 election, I think it is a step in the right direction. Now, if you listened to him very well and watched that press conference, you will see that he displayed INEC papers and showed the press those names, which they confirmed. He also exhibited a suit that was filed at the Federal High Court. I don't know whether you even lost sight of that. There is a suit pending at the Federal High Court. That suit was filed, I think, on 24th of August. That suit specifically targets stopping INEC from using BVAS. That's bimodal voter accreditation system. So, what is the essence of that suit? Why would somebody not want BVAS to be used? That's the question. Then, again, I stumbled on a letter, which is also at INEC. That letter was written by Obi Namagula, who is also a contestant in that Oru East. He was very precise in his own, if you look at his petition, he was very precise. He said prior to the extension of the registration, Omoma used to have 3,500 and above. That from 3,500 and above, as at the time the exercise was concluded, Omoma is now having 45,000 voters. How that magic happened, it still beats my mind.
That is where the Omoma magic...
yes, that's what they referred as the Omoma magic. That's the particular... yes.
Let me say, the issue...
No, have you made your point? Are you okay?
Yes, then I do not think... What I think is that it is not necessary to call for arrest of Ugochinyere. The only thing that is required to be done is for INEC to be responsible enough to give attention to the allegation raised by Ugochinyere. Because they are very serious allegations. Those allegations, if they are true, they constitute big threat to our democracy, particularly as we approach 2023 election. So INEC should look inward and know and identify those those their staff that compromise this exercise.
Okay. Okay. Mode, the government reaction towards this matter appear to be one of desperation. We noticed that within 48 hours, government has already addressed the world 4 times in the government house, at the deputy speaker's lodge, Ibis Royal, the Rockview Hotel. It appears the government is rattled by the allegation.
There is no desperation of any sort on the side of government. Government had only responded to that matter once, the one addressed by Commissioner for Information at the Government House. The one you were referring to that happened by the local courts at the House Assembly, that was the business of the House. It was nothing to do with the government. Ordinarily, the government had wanted to ignore such vituperation by Ugochinen, if not that because of for the sake of the unsuspecting public. Now, government decided to address it. Why? Because Uzodimma's name was mentioned. Okay, and as I said, that does not mean that government is panicking or there's anything like that. No, Ugochinen made certain allegations and especially accused Uzodimma. Now, let me tell you, for those who are saying Omoma was this figure, it rose to this figure and that figure, why government is calling, or government called and is still calling for the arrest of Ugochinen was because INEC document Ugochinen brandished. Ugochinen has not disclosed to the public how and who made those documents available to him. The INEC document is a secret document at this time. Now, if Ugochinen perhaps got the documents through an inappropriate means, okay, now it becomes online. Want the INEC to come out and say they gave Ugochinen that document. If they are not, if the document is not emanated from INEC and Ugochinen got it through another means, now Ugochinen needs to be arrested for questioning. So as to you see, forget interest. We are talking about the sustainability, the sustenance of democracy, okay, in this country. If we allow certain things to happen or to survive because of our narrow political interests, we don't even know how the thing will play, how the long-term implications of such actions. Because anybody can hack. You'll be hearing of people hacking on INEC server or something like that. So we want to know how Ugochinen got those false documents he paraded.
Model, let me ask you. INEC for now has never complained that their system has been hacked. The position you are putting out, is more or less like somebody could interpret it as crying more than the bereaved. Because if there are issues with INEC system, they will raise alarm. And if Ugochinen as a lawyer, Ugochinen as a candidate, some people...
No. It's not saying that INEC has not raised alarm. INEC did raise alarm. If you read INEC release, they said that the attention was caught. You know why INEC responded? Not because Ugochinen was involved. Okay? But because Ugochinen issued that release through Cupp, Conference of United Political Parties, and it's a very serious organization. If it was Ugochinen as a person, and they couldn't have bothered themselves.
So that gets back to you. Do you think that Ugochinen is the spokesman of CUPP?
Yeah.
Now, do you think it is CUPP that had INEC portals?
Now, again, let me tell you, we know how Ugochinen has criminalized CUPP. He has criminalized that organization. He will tell us. Yes, this is not the first time Ugochinen will be raising unfounded allegations in the name of Cupp. And he has used that organization because most of these political parties like PDP are only concentrating on their parties. But Ugochinen has now gone further to say he is the spokesperson of the entire political parties. How he got to that position, I don't know, but that's not even my business. What I'm telling you that the organization he used on its surface value is a serious organization. But Ugochinen, the personality, the personage involved, he's not somebody that has a believability or a believable, he's not credible, he's not a credible person.
But Soti, what do you have to say about this?
For me, when you make an allegation, the right thing to do is to investigate that allegation. That's from the point of view of professionalism. That's what I think. If an allegation is made, before we draw a conclusion or we make an inference whether that allegation is correct or not, we will first of all investigate the allegation. It is that investigation that will determine whether the allegation is correct or not. I think it will be premature to conclude that the alarm raised by Ugo Chinyere is false. It is also premature to say that it is true. So the right thing to do is for INEC to indulge, look inward, investigate the allegation. The paper he brandished or exhibited at the press conference, look at those papers. If they actually emanated from INEC, and those names cannot be associated with Imo State indigenous names, then there is serious danger to democracy. So, and that should be seriously investigated by INEC. They look inward. Then again, the next step INEC should take, if that allegation upon investigation is found to be correct, INEC has a duty also to fish out their staff, because they compromise all the system. You see, no politician will rig election without collaboration with INEC staff. That is just this position. Even people who get resources, they get it through INEC staff. So whatever document, sensitive or non-sensitive documents that you INEC, is a compromise on the part of INEC. Again, there is something that my brother Modeste, that getting documents, let me tell you, I do not agree, I do not subscribe to that, because INEC documents are public documents. You see, even you, as Modestus Wampa, if you have issue, or if you have cause to doubt anything on the record of INEC, you make an application. You make an application for certified true copy of those documents, and they should be issued to you. That's what do you call it? The evidence says. Do you understand? And even Electoral, you are entitled to have documents for perusal. Even those documents will be, even at some point, I don't know, I have lost track of INEC timetable, but those documents at some point will be displayed for the public to also see.
So it's possible he may have gotten it genuinely.
Yes, it's possible. If he applied for it and he got it.
Now, then, let me ask you, the 12 or local cause members in the State Assembly, that issued the statements, all the while there have been issues playing out, about the insecurity, and we've not had them. Now, their interest is it, because one would expect that as legislators, they should be there to defend democracy. Now, they are rather defending the government, defending the allegation. What I'm asking is, are they defending because Olu zone, where the issues were traced, they want to protect themselves, or they are protecting, what is their interest here?
Now, see, let me say this quickly. Much as I'm not holding brief for those allocators, I'm not holding brief for them. But you understand, you ask yourself, why would it be Kakus or Lokakus instead of the entire House of Assembly or the other Kakus? Now, that tells you the reason. The Ugochi of a person is from Oluso, from Idato North. Yes. And if you watch the comments by the member representing Idato North, Honorable Ategbim, if you watch carefully what he said first that Ugochile in question is one of his constituents, and that he knows him deep down into his house, and he said that he wants to tell the world not to believe Ugochile, because that Ugochile, that the way he behaved, in fact he even went ahead to say that the way he behaved was the same way his father behaved. That's what he said. Because we're talking about some people who know Ugochile. I think the honorable member represented that or not knows Ugochile better than you and I. And if such a person is coming out in the open and to tell the world, look, enough is enough. This man, people should not believe this man. He's like this. Don't believe he's my constituent. I know him too well. That alone should make to guide people on what to say or how to believe whatever the guy said. Now, there was something Chibike said. He talked about investigation. I love that. Yeah, these type of issues are subject to investigation. And he said, if I'm real, that means it is still condition. You see, these are kind of things I want. It's some people jumping into conclusion. Now we're talking about foreign people being in the Omoma this and all that. Look, I want to say that in the face of that, for the purpose of this argument, Omoma is now a semi-urban area. There is a new polytechnic in Omoma. That now people are coming into Omoma. People of that, even foreigners are even coming to Omoma now, living in Omoma.
Okay, foreigners.
Yes, and foreigners I mean non-Igbo people and all that, because of the polytechnic there and because of other things. Omoma has a big, there are a lot of things that are attracting people into Omoma. So the possibility of seeing somebody whose name is not really an Omoma name or an Igbo name,
and the age.
And what?
The age.
No, let's not talk about. Let's talk. I just want to react. I'm not an next staff. Okay, and it's not in my position to poke nose into INEC documents, but I'm just saying it for the purpose of this argument or this discussion. So what I am saying is that what Ugo Chinyere, people in the US, in developed nations, that's why they are ahead of us. They profile everybody. If you want to, let me tell you, if you want to conduct a seminar on how to make women to be faithful to their husbands, fidelity, you don't use a divorcee.
So what are you trying to imply?
Ugo Chinyere does not have the moral believability.
No. That is your opinion.
I'm telling you this, I'm telling you so. That Ugo Chinyere question does not have such moral believability.
You don't need to talk about his character in this program. Now, Baristoti, let me ask you. People now believe that since the exposure was made, heads should have rolled now at INEC office. They should have been able to trace what happened, who did what, whose passcode was used to do this thing. But right now, nothing has been had. Do you think that anything can still happen from INEC quarters?
Well, I think that if INEC is responsible enough, they would have commenced process of investigation. I do not also agree with you that between the time that disclosure was made and now, the heads would have rolled. Well, it is a process. Remember, this is civil service. Do you understand? So it must be a process. But the thing is that I will be worried if that process has not been activated. Because first, if the first step should be to identify the people who leaked whatever documents. Do you understand? And those who even worked at Omoma for registration, who did registration in those areas. Assuming they confirm that the allegation is correct. Now, the first thing will be identify those who conducted registration exercise at Omoma.
One.
Yes, if you identify them, then another step would be to issue query to them. The next step will be to wait for the reply of their queries. So this is a whole lot of process. I know what is involved in civil service. So it will be too quick to conclude, yes, that ordinarily by now they should have drawn a conclusion and even punished those who are involved. So let us believe that INEC has, taken steps to activate the process of investigation and also getting those involved punished.
Okay, I'm talking about the model, back to you. I'm talking about the issue of the court action, which had planned to stop the use of beavers and as well as remove the INEC chairman in the event that he resists the use of, he puts up any opposition against that. So why was the case filed here in Imo State?
On the issue of court case, I want to ask the person who raised it whether if in that suit, maybe he will tell us whether if in that suit he has Usodima's name in that suit, so-called suit. That is wrong. That the matter was filed in Imo. Is that enough to put it on the doorstep of Usodima? Now, even at that, as a lawyer and as Democrats, what is wrong in somebody going to court to challenge the legality or otherwise of any action in the democracy? Even when INEC, what do you call it, the former the one that replaced beavers, the
manual accreditation,
the smart cards.
Okay.
It was somebody went to court to challenge it also, that it was not in the Electoral Act. And the court ruled on it. So if somebody assuming that even the beavers is even legally sound, and someone decides to go to court to test it, is anything wrong about it? So when we begin to make certain things, that someone went to go to challenge the beavers, now you want to even on the doorstep of Usodima doesn't want beavers to be used. Is Usodima afraid of beavers? A man who has done all the things he has done in this state, so who will not vote for him? Who will look at all those things? Does he, whether beavers or no beavers, why would Usodima win the election in Imo State? With all the things he has done in Imo State.
If you are campaigning, you pay us to allow you.
No. We're just talking about it. You know, he was just trying to make it look as if that Uzodinma was against the use of beavers. I tell you that the man has worked himself, not to be afraid of any.
No, but I didn't mention Uzodinma's name. I only reminded him of the suit. Yes, and
so,
it was Ugochine who exhibited that.
Ugochine himself is also contested election. Let him leave all this diversity. Let him come and face his people. Because he was going to lose that election.
No,
but to lose that election.
Why are you concluding?
He will lose the election.
Except you are telling us that you have written result already. Because I don't know how you conclude at this stage that he will lose the election.
Because that election people. Yes. The few of them have had engagement with.
But not all of them.
Not, of course, I couldn't have.
The people you would have reached are APC people. There is no way APC people will admit.
See, I married from there. Okay, my wife is from there. So I interface with a good number. Of course, there are a few of them who also are inclined to him. But a good number of that election people do not want to go to him. For instance, I will tell you here. For instance, they told me. If you don't bother, if you don't mind, I will tell you the reason they told me why Ugochine will not win. Nobody will send that kind of person to go and represent them. Ugochine is not such a person who can represent the people. Okay. He doesn't have the maturity, he doesn't have the character.
Okay, but Soti, one of the lawyer that was involved, whose stamp was used in filing the suit, later denied and said somebody borrowed the stamp for him and used that he doesn't have an idea about the suit. But we've not had anything from the NBA, and is that allowed? Is that the appropriate thing to say concerning that suit?
Well, if that is the correct position, the lawyer is right by telling the world that I did not know that it was for purpose of this suit that my seal or stamp was requested for. I read that particular. He said that he mentioned the name of a lady lawyer, a colleague in Owerri, who is practicing in Owerri. That it was only that colleague that he had throughout this year given out his stamp and seal to. Do you understand? So he is saying, I did not affix my seal on that document. But I remember that a certain lawyer, he mentioned the name of that lawyer, I can't readily remember. But that name he gave is the name of a female. So that it is that lawyer who is also practicing in Owerri that requested for my seal. That the lawyer told me she ran out of her own seal. That I should please give her my own seal to use. I think that's what he said. So I gave out my seal, and he said that the lawyer told me that she even wanted to use that seal to affix to a legal instrument. When you talk of legal instrument, usually you refer to properties, documents that convey properties, probably power of attorney or land agreement or something like that. So he said it is a title instrument that the lawyer specifically told him he wanted, or told him he wanted to use it for. Do you understand? And he issued out that seal. So what he did is to say, I am not in any way aware of this suit. And that's correct. So the next thing to do, but for me, that is not an issue. NBA has no business investigating that. There is a requirement that if you file a suit in court, you affix your seal. It is not a crime. Do you understand? Even for the lawyer who affixed that seal, it is not a crime. If that lawyer was briefed, do you understand? File this suit for me. Do you understand? And he borrowed, the only thing is that lawyer should have told the lawyer he borrowed his seal the right thing he wanted to use that seal for. Otherwise, there is no offense there. I don't see any offense there. Whether the lawyer that was given the seal, who used it eventually to file a suit, she has not committed any offense, so to speak. If you file a suit, you affix your seal. For every seal, every suit I file, I affix my own seal. So it is a requirement. Even at the Federal High Court, they will not have received that document from you if they don't see your seal. Do you understand? So it's a requirement. It's not an offense.
Okay, let me still ask you.
Yes.
when the electoral law was passed, Nigerians were excited, especially the aspect that allowed transmission of electronic transmission of results. Now, with this development, are we still assured? Do you think, going by your knowledge of the electoral laws, are we still assured that there is still going to be a free and fair election come 2020?
Well, for me, I'm a very positive person. I'm a very positive person. I still believe that INEC, if they are responsible to deliver free, fair, and credible election, they can. So the OAS rest on the shoulders of INEC. Do you understand? Now, my knowledge of the Electoral Act, one of the biggest innovation in the current Electoral Act was introduction of this electronic mode of registration. In fact, if you look at section 51 also, it says there must be electronic data of all voters kept in the national office of INEC and also in the other state offices where necessary. Do you understand? So even if somebody does registration, do you understand, of names that do not exist, and in an election day they were not accredited, those persons did not present themselves to be accredited, that registration will amount to no issue.
But what if they present themselves?
Yes, if people present themselves, the beavers will now know, is this the man that was registered? Because if you look at the allegation made by Govt, he is saying for some pictures they carry female names. For some also, majority of them presented their date of birth as 1983, even though they look older. Then some who also presented their ages between 1914 and 1940 something or something, they look younger. So these are things that at the time of accreditation, beavers will identify and probably stop the accreditation.
So it is possible that whoever is doing what now may not have...
Yes, they may not succeed. If INEC does what it's supposed to do, because the essence of the beavers is to identify the actual persons who registered and accredit them for purposes of voting. Do you understand? Then if you look at section 47 and also look at section 50 of the Electoral Act, between 47 and 50 of the Electoral Act, you can correctly predict that even the suit we are talking about will definitely fail. Because in that section 47, between section 47 and 50 of the new Electoral Act, the amended Electoral Act 2022, it gives INEC power to use any other modern technology of accreditation that they think. So if you see, when a law gives you discretion, yes, that law has given INEC discretion. Like there is a reference my brother Mode made sometime. He said somebody when they were using smart card, yes, as at that time it was wrong for INEC to even use smart card because it was not in the Electoral Act. Electoral Act did not permit anybody to use electronic means of accreditation. Do you understand? So that is why the people who went to court, they were correct by going to court. So it was, you can also remember, you recall that it was after they went to court, then the subsequent amendment that was made, they now included it in the Electoral Act, which is to legalize it. So that is it. That's the position.
Mode, your party tried to turn the whole thing against the PDP, and one of those allegations, they said the lawyer involved has a close relationship with the PDP chieftain.
You want me to respond as a spokesperson of APC or PDP? See, I'm not here. I'm not voting plea for anything, and I'm not too much concerned about the legality otherwise. The drama going on in court with respect to this beavers of a term. I can tell you that none came from my government. Okay, and whoever is going to court to challenge anything, the Electoral Act, see, these laws are made by human beings. They are not cast on stone. They are not infallible. They can be challenged. However you look at it, they can be challenged. We are talking about the Electoral Act. Somebody can look at the Constitution, which is a ground law, and discover a little opening that or contradiction with the Electoral Act, and try to test it in court. So those things are not these things are not things that are made by spirits. They are made by human beings. So the fallibility, that's why we keep reviewing. The fallibilities are there.
Gentlemen, let's briefly look at an issue that played out yesterday: the resignation of the Speaker of Imo State House of Assembly. The news just to so many people, it came like a thunder from the blues. They were not expecting it because there were not issues playing out, that could have originated that. A statement came that he has resigned, but there was no reason for his resignation. What do you have to say?
That the statement came that he has resigned, but there was no reason for his resignation. Yes. Isn't that contradictory? Could somebody have taken action without a reason? However, no
reason was given for his resignation.
Given by who? By the Speaker. To give it to who? Give it to who? The reason was given to who?
To the Assembly now.
To Assembly.
Yeah.
And the Assembly told you that the Speaker.
The Chief Press Secretary to the Speaker made out a statement. I read
now his resignation.
Yes.
Is like the way the resignation. Anybody can, even if you are a civil servant, is a choice. Do you understand? It's a choice. You can employ me in this establishment. Suddenly, I tell not to work again. I resign. It's a choice. If the Speaker has resigned for reasons best known to him, I give it to him. If you're asking me that the said Speaker resigned and now the Speaker said he didn't resign, it could be an issue. But now, if he has, what happened at the House yesterday was not something unusual. In democracy, we've seen this thing over and over again. Okay. There's something unusual about it.
It's possible he got tired of the job and he decided to throw in the towel.
Well, until you bring him here and ask him. Personally, I called him yesterday to get his own side of the whole thing. Unfortunately, he didn't pick his call. Okay. Now, by the time I get to him, I want to know actually why he resigned. But he resigned. Remember, he only resigned as a speaker. He didn't resign as a House member. He's just a first among equal. He will go back to the floor and continue his work as a member representing Obo. There's nothing unusual about it. So people should stop making much. People should stop making much. Much ado about nothing.
They don't say there's not much.
But people are making much ado about nothing. This is not a speaker. If that happens, life goes on. Another person will take over and they move on. The speaker himself became speaker when somebody else resigned. So it's like that. You do not be surprised tomorrow. You see the current speaker resign and another person taking over. Okay. It's still within them. They will not bring you to come and
not sending a wrong signal.
No, there's no wrong signal about it. It's members. One thing is sure that they will not bring you from outside to come and be the speaker. It will still be within them.
Okay, but he discovered that in the last 3 years, Imo House Assembly has had 4 speakers.
Yes.
So it does not send a signal to the public. That
It does. Of course, certainly I cannot subscribe to that view of Modestus Wampa in saying that there is nothing about it. They were making much ado. You see, let me tell you one thing. The speaker is in charge, is the head of the State House of Assembly. There must be stability in governance. You don't just say for a public servant who is serving Imo people that suddenly he resigned and without even adducing reasons for his resignation, Imo people should not raise eyebrow. No, that is not correct. You see, he is serving us. And there must be stability in governance. We are having very serious issues with our State House of Assembly. There is no stability in governance in that State House of Assembly. If you look at that State House of Assembly, they, without any apology, State House of Assembly has not been very responsible with their duties of legislation. There are many other jobs, apart from even duty of making laws. Oversight. Yes, oversight functions. They have not been doing anything. If you have instances where they have excelled in oversight, you let us know. So they are serving us. We are Imo people. You and I, we are Imo people. forget that maybe you share sentiments with this government, but at least,
It's
yes, yeah.
No. See, primarily, I'm an Imolite. Primarily, before being in government, primarily I'm an Imolite. And you see, my problem with people is when they make certain allegations that are at large for me. Now, when you say oversight, they've not been doing that. They are not responsible. They are, no, those type of languages you are using, you can't substantiate them. Now, let me tell you, legislative, executive harmony or business or stability was used, that there should be stability, does not mean that the legislator, but that's what people want. We will be quarreling with the executive. Now, when you talk of oversight, what is oversight? These people make budgets. Sorry, the executive bring budget and they pass the budget. Now, in the passage of the budget, have they not been doing that? They've been doing that. Now, if you look at the projects the governor is doing, you ask yourself whether these projects are in line with the approved budgets. These are questions people should be raising. Is the governor working under the approved budget by the legislator? And not that people should expect the legislator to always be fighting with the government, just for people to know that they are working or they are responsible. Because we see this is a government after government. Anytime you see harmony between the legislator and that means the legislator is
no, nobody is saying no.
These are kind of things we see in this part of the world.
But then
it's not like that.
Nobody is saying they should continue to attack the.
But that's exactly what they're saying, that they are not doing the oversight. How do you know that? How can you substantiate that? If we take you on now to prove that, how can you prove it?
Can I ask you a question?
Now let me say something. You see, if you go to the local governments, if you go to our local governments, they are literally dead. There is nothing happening in the local government areas. I had occasion to be in my local government headquarters recently. And when I got there, the place is literally dead. I am not missing words about it. So a responsible House of Assembly should have made the chief executive of the state at least make sure that those areas, the local government is the third-tier government. It is from there that development trickles down to the grassroots. The grassroots people who are far, who are remote from governance, they feel governance from the local government. And when you kill those local government centers, of course, it is no longer correct to say that the people at the grassroots are feeling the part of governance. So it is a House of Assembly that ought to ordinarily, in performance of its oversight, should remind the chief executive. It is very possible that governor, as a single person, will not, remember all these things. Yes, it can't be all everywhere at the same time. But at least, they should act. Then the commissioners, if you look at the ministries, many of them are non-performing. Many of them are non-performing.
There are certain things.
Quickly, let me just going to say, are you agreeing with him?
No. Of course. See, let me tell you what.
No, you talked about.
Hold on, sir. He said the House Assembly can advise the government. Granted. Okay. Now we must know what defines the work of a legislator, a House Assembly this time around, to make laws and oversight. Of course, for appropriation purposes. Yeah. Those are basically
the government.
Now, the local government is another tier of government. If he's concerned, or anybody is concerned about, what is happening at the local government level, that's no problem. You can put, after all, if in the House of Assembly there is a position for private person bill, you can sponsor bill. You can even write to the House of Assembly and provide this advice to them.
Which they will keep. They won't allow that bill. Will they allow the bill see the light of the day? That is the question.
Don't predict yet. The question is, have you done that? If you have not done that,
we know from the antecedents, we know what is happening.
Now, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Moderator, you say antecedents. Yeah. Again, you come.
Yeah, I can give you an example.
Now, let me tell you. You see those people there. Yes. See those people there. They are not spirit. They are human beings. I've said it here. It's not expect. Look, you see, it's very easy for us to criticize from outside. Most of those people who are there now, we are people before I campaign to who are sitting also in the same way where we are sitting and criticizing the people who were there and then. But today they are there. They are seeing this. See,
enjoying government money.
If you go there, even you that is criticizing, if they put you that place, people also criticize you. You also, they also that. So these things are what I want our people. If you want to
but if you are doing the right thing, people will not criticize.
Now, saying the right thing or not, doing not the right, it's subjective. To your own estimation. You go to House Assembly member, then we can even rate themselves the best the state has ever had, and they will defend it also. See, let me tell you, I'm not defending them. I'm not holding brief for them. But I only want us to be circumspect, kind of, in the things we say and the way we say things, as if we are saying that these people are devils. No, you are a responsible citizen of the state. If there are things you discover that are not going well, write to them, advise them. Then you cannot come up on air and say, look, I have done this in 2 times. They've not done anything about it.
There are things that ordinarily should know that nobody needs to advise them. Are you saying they are presiding over a local government? They are number one citizens of that local government, and they don't know what is happening in their local government. The state assembly members, even
the local government is their respective constituencies.
Now, the local government system, you and I know, yes, may not be working the way we want it to work.
Why?
You know, and it is not. No, I'm just saying. I say may not be working.
The funding.
Okay.
How does it?
Now, these are issues that I will not come here to begin to discuss because they are deep. Okay, they are deep, and again, I don't find myself as the appropriate person to discuss them. You know, but as animalites, we can make our little inputs. But not to dramatize it or to tint it with political coloration. No, that's not even what we are. Because most of this is we say.
There is very strong allegation that the government is manipulating the house and not giving them local government autonomy.
I thank you. You call it allegation. Okay, I thank you. I know what allegation
so I want you to react.
Allegations more often than not are unfounded. Okay, you call it if you say there is a sanction, if you talk to or ask a question with all level of certainty, I can respond.
No,
but you know, luckily, a good thing. Currently, Imo State has the most frugal governor in the history of the state. I will tell you that in the first idea, this is the first time in the history of the state since we started existing. Yes. We see the governor who has spent 2 years plus, who has not even erected one single block in his own name, whose brothers are not anywhere, emasculating people's land. Because state land we were in this state when even the wife of a governor was a clearing house to get anything in government. Even the brothers of governors were hired, rented hotels, and people were going there to get. But this time around,
I will give you a bill. You are promoting your government, and
no. These are not promoting government, but we are changing the things that are real. I want you to contradict me if I say things that are not correct.
Now, let me say something. You see, the truth is that when you talk of governor not erecting building for himself, every individual has flair for things he like. Do you understand? The governor, his own taste may not be in buildings. It may not be in landed properties and all that. He may be using his money to drink expensive champagne. He may be using his money to buy expensive wristwatches. He may be using his money to buy expensive wardrobe, to make sure he has expensive wardrobe. He may be using his money to even marry new wives. He may be using his money. So it is not correct. It is not correct to say that because government is not buying landed property, because he's not building, that he's not probably diverting resources to himself. That is not the basis to draw such conclusion.
I work with the governor. I work with the governor directly.
But then I
work with the governor directly.
We're out of time. We'll come back to the program. We're out of time. So, gentlemen, I thank you for your contributions and for your presence. Barisoti.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure always being here.
Modern.
Thank you. Imo is moving on well on those other man.
Okay. Thank you, our viewers, and please be part of the program tomorrow and subsequently. We remember to like our Facebook page and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Universal Heritage Television is your premier online television in Imo. Please keep it there with us always. Thank you so much.